Welcome in to another DNVR Avalanche emergency pod brought to you by Xfinity. Imagine that. We've got AJ, we've got Bailey, we've got Rudo for you. The Avs apparently have found their 3C, and it is Nic Roy. The Avs give up a first-round pick and a fifth-round pick for Nic Roy from Toronto. Technically, both picks have conditions, but they're not really conditions. The first is top 10 protected, and that is it. And the fifth will be the lowest of the 3/5 that the Avs have. So both picks will be going to Toronto no matter what, whether it ends up. The Avs aren't going to be in the top 10. They're going to make the playoffs, obviously. Not relevant as far as the conditions are concerned. Immediate reactions to it being Nic Roy that the Avs end up with as what we assume to be their 3C.
It's unfortunate for the Nazem Kadri dream.
Yeah.
But no, this locks in Jack Drury at 4C, which I think I love, is what I love most about this. It's been proven that Drury is an elite 4C, and
he's very good.
While you're getting Roy at 3C, you're getting not a super physical guy, but somebody who's big, somebody who can forecheck the heck out of the puck. I don't love what the Avs gave up for it, but as far as maybe potential here, I'm open to it.
Yeah, I mean, this is such an interesting deal because Nic Roy he wasn't part of any of our run up to the deadline coverage, because you're just talking about a total misfit in how the Avalanche play and how Nic Roy plays. Roy is one of the slowest skaters in the league. And that's a concern. We have seen slow skaters badly struggle to fit into Colorado system, especially at center. We've seen some slower wingers be fine and make it work, but slow centers have been a tougher sell. This is different because Nic Roy is he's big. He's not a guy that's going to light you up, but he's hard to play against. He plays a heavy game. This isn't a soft, this isn't a big guy that just kind of lets guys go, right? He is a bigger guy that makes life difficult for you. And the combination of Roy at 3C and Drury at 4C now is tough. And it's really Brock Nelson and Nic Roy as 2 and 3C. Suddenly the Avs have a little bit of size. And, Nathan MacKinnon, as we know, not the biggest guy, but no wallflower. It fills a need. I think the first round pick is going to be the sticker shock that everybody has a problem with.
Yeah.
And I would say that it also solves their 3C issue next year, assuming that Roy isn't a complete and utter flop. And at $3 million, we've been talking over the last few days about the Avalanche and Jack Drury not being able to find an agreement on a contract extension for him because he's looking for a deal in that 3.5 range. Roy's locked in at 3, and is a guy who has a much higher offensive ceiling than Jack Drury ever is going to. He's having a bad year this year in Toronto. It hasn't worked well. And I think that's where, more than anything, that's where my problem with the first round pick comes in. They are paying peak price, a premium price here, for a guy that is having a bad year.
Yeah.
That's not how that's supposed to go. You're supposed to pay premium prices for
premium players.
Yes, except for guys having great years.
Yeah.
And Roy, had the Avs done this last summer before Roy had this mess of a season in Toronto, no issues with this. I know he was part of the Marner return, and it's not like that easy, right? But paying the first round pick for a guy who has 5 goals in 59 games feels bad. So you wonder, like, okay, he was a really good fit in how Vegas likes to play. Vegas likes big, heavy guys. They really like to cycle. They're good in the cycle game. They're not as good consistently in the rush game. Colorado has actually been very, very good in both the cycle and rush games this year as a team. This doesn't help them in the rush game at all.
No.
But it does help them cycle, and he's a good goal-scoring depth guy. He's been a consistent goal scorer for the last, 4 years? This year, the anomaly. He's shooting the lowest percentage of his career. And again, I'm saying this is why I have like an issue with the first round pick, is because this should have been the nadir of value. And
let's face it, he has less points than Jack Drury in essentially the same amount of games played. A first for Jack Drury would feel expensive. A first for Nic Roy feels expensive. Now, if he recaptures what he had in Vegas, if you go back 2 years and he had a 41-point season, if that's the productive version you're getting out of Nic Roy, not near as bad feeling that you gave up a first round pick for a 40-point guy.
Yeah.
If you give up a first round pick for a 25-point guy, yes, that's not good value. It just isn't.
I think that's fair. It's just, for me, this moves the needle quite a bit. And it's why I'm going to sleep fine. Like I'm not going to miss this pick that much. Because again, this year and next year, he moves the needle. He's a good goal scorer, and he's been a really solid player in the postseason in the past. Yep. Also, I mean, it's not everything. Having the best year of his career in faceoffs.
Yeah.
Hey,
which,
all right.
If anything can be helped on in the bottom 6 faceoffs.
Yeah.
Sure. I will say what's interesting to me too is, as far as the three of us were concerned with the trade deadline, size was a big, like, necessary point of that needed to be addressed here, and that's the biggest thing. What does kill me though is the lack of the physicality part of it. Like, yes, you're getting the size, maybe you're getting somebody who can bully other people off the puck, but as far as that physicality goes, like that's still lacking. Yeah,
he's not a guy who's gonna go out there and really blow anyone up. He is a guy who works hard though. The Avs have long been comfortable playing guys that their physicality is maybe more about winning puck battles in the corner than it is blowing people up.
Yeah.
For Wah, we do have a $5 super chat here from Ryan that says, "This is my nightmare, trading the first for a bad skating historical 4C. That's a style mismatch. There is upside, but man, you could do so much better."
He's not been a 4C.
Right. He's pretty cleanly been a 3C since he broke out in Vegas.
Yeah. This year, he's down in ice time at 14:45, and he is still, I think, like 8th in even strength time on ice per game for among Leafs forwards. So if you're mad about them trading a first round pick for a 4th line center, you can stop being mad about it, because he's not a 4th line center, and I don't think will be in Colorado. This firmly plants the flag of Jack Drury as 4C.
Yeah. Wall will be the 3C. Concerns about a style mismatch are fair, but it wouldn't be the first time it's worked. Like, obviously we have to wait and see. I can't see the future, etc. But you've seen these mismatch guys work in Colorado. If you were going to go out and get a Ryan O'Reilly, that would be a style mismatch, right? But you just have more faith that he could do the job. Now, I do fall in the camp that a first round pick for Nic Roy is pretty darn expensive, but the Avs have made their bed at this point. There's no, you don't get to undo the trade. So we're going to see what it looks like with Roy. I mean, we can get into the stats, so we can bring up his stat card and start diving in a little bit here. But as we kind of previously mentioned, the Toronto version of Nic Roy is not what the Avs are hoping for. They clearly want the version you got that he was in Vegas. So it's hard to necessarily compare. I think it's important to keep in mind you're grading him out as a 3C here. So when you see some of these numbers, you're not comparing him to a Nathan McKinnon that's going to have 100% in some of these categories. You're comparing him to 3Cs across the league.
Yeah. Yeah, these microstats, these are the ones that are available. These are the Vegas ones. This is a pretty good player.
Yep.
Like, you look at this, he does a lot of things well. This is his player card from this current season. None of this blows you away. He's a solid PK guy. He is third on Toronto for shorthanded time on ice per night. So you're fine. Like, he can help you in all of these areas. I do think it is funny. You now have Brock Nelson, Nicolas Waugh, and Jack Drury, all as guys that you're like, all right, you can play any of these guys on the PK if you want.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's good, solid. That's center depth at an important spot.
Well,
Brock Nelson's been so good on the PK that I think you would like to keep him there. But ideally, this would open it up so that, hey, you can free up some of that ice time. You can keep Brock a little bit fresher. As we know, I mean, he fought in the Civil War, so you do worry about it's a long season. And I think that's, it's part of the story.
Well, that is...
But it makes you deep down the middle. And it's expensive, yeah, but he's good, and he's been good in the postseason. He has a good postseason track record, which I think is an important part of this. Had he been bad in Vegas's postseason runs, you'd be going, there's so many elements of this I don't like. Literally, the only two things about this that I struggle with are he's having a bad year and he's really slow.
Yep.
The really slow is honestly my biggest concern.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think it is worth noting too that this is a proper center, right? The impact of this move isn't just, Nic Roy's your 3C. Parker Kelly can go back to playing the wing. You can stop messing around with whoever else you want to try at center, whether that's Ross Colton or Zagar Partakov is probably your 13th forward at this point.
Isn't he like your 15th?
I mean, Logan O'Connor's not healthy yet, so
okay. Touche. Neither is Yoel Kiviranta right now at the moment. Like, you're right.
In a perfect world, yeah, he's probably not even on your roster. Like,
yeah.
So there are multiple impacts of this beyond just what Nic Roy is as a player.
There's also not the guarantee that he'll play immediately, too.
It's true.
Because of all the immigration paperwork. They're trying to get him to meet them in Dallas. So we may not see him until next week. So not an immediate thing that the Avs can utilize.
There's no shot he plays tomorrow in Dallas. No shot. Has a player traded from a Canadian team to an American team ever played within 5 days?
So,
like, I did this earlier this year when the Avs claimed Ilya Solovyov, and I was asking, obviously, like, all the political issues around immigration in the United States right now. I asked if it was going to impact these visas, and the answer was no. So that shouldn't be any kind of an issue, but I think you should plan for 10 days. Just plan for it, and you hope that it's more like 5.
Yep.
Yeah. It's often been a thing when the Avs get a team from a Canadian player that just schedule a week for them to show up.
Yeah.
Just part of the deal.
The Avs play Dallas again on March 18th. He should be in the lineup for that game. The game tomorrow.
Probably
not happening.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say no.
Tiff,
no.
Do you have Waz isolated impacts ready to go? I know they were in our Slack, but either way, if she's got to find those and pull those up, Nic Roy mechanically does fit a Jared Bednar system in the sense of, look, what Jared Bednar wants out of his bottom six is low event hockey. And Wa's going to give that to you on the defensive side of the puck.
For sure, wants a good defensive center. Wants somebody that is going to take care of that end. Got that. Yep. That's legit. Those impacts are consistent with his career. This is not the defensive side of the puck. That -6 that's this year, it was a -5 last year.
Yeah.
Like this, he's a good defensive center. He takes care of his own zone first. There's plenty to like about it. It's just the skating really does make me nervous.
Yep.
A fair concern. I'm trying to look on the optimistic side of it and saying, hey, there are guys who have struggled to skate that have found success with the Avs, but there are also guys who have completely failed in Colorado because of their skating issues.
Yeah.
And the Avs, they don't currently have a guy who's performing on the high end in their bottom six when it comes to, I should say on their third line when it comes to their production, right? Ross Colton is underperforming what he needs to, and Victor Olofsson is fine, but hasn't been shockingly impactful in that way. So you do wonder if your third line is, depending on the version of Nic Roy you get. If you get the version of Nic Roy that's producing the way he has in Toronto, your third line might feel a little underpowered on the offensive side of things. If you get the Vegas version, maybe you're more comfortable there. Whatever does happen, the Avs starting lineup may be changing, but the price of your internet will not. Make sure you check out the 5-year price guarantee from Xfinity. Today, right now, I think it's expensive, but I do not dislike this move.
If they don't get, their NHL team doesn't get worse. They just got deeper.
Right.
They still have the 2 second-round picks for next year, which there's no obligation for them to move them. This isn't a rental. He signed through next season. And they still have about $6.7 million to spend. That's deceiving because Logan O'Connor's 2.5, so you go down to 4.2. You would love to save $3 million for Brent Burns' bonus that can apply to this year's cap. You don't have to. So we went from 6.7 and what did I say? 6.7 minus 2.5, 4.2 minus 3. So you're down to 1.2. And again, a little deceiving because you have both Bardakov and Brindley can be demoted to the AHL if need be, or, moved out. So you can move up a little bit. You can basically double that space there. So they've still got a little bit of cap space to work with, and if they wanted to, they move a roster player, they move a Victor Olofsson, they move a Ross Colton,
1.7 million or
right.
4 million.
They have money to work, so it's they're in like fine shape cap wise. They can still go do more if they want an 8th defenseman. They want another winger, they can go do that. They're fine.
Well, let me ask both of you that then. Do you think the Avs do something meaningful still, or do you think this is the last impactful trade they make?
As far as big moves go, I think this is probably it.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. But as has been mentioned, the Avalanche pride themselves on being a very deep team. It's one of the things the biggest things they have in their arsenal. One of the biggest things that scares other teams is how deep they can be and how much impact that depth can make. So if they're going and getting an 8th D, or if it's something to bolster the bottom 6, I would not be surprised if there's something else left in the tank for the Avs.
I don't. I mean, their centers are solid, right? Unless they're like intent on moving Drury out, their centers are solid.
I don't see that happening. Yeah,
I also don't. But if they wanted to get a pretty good winger at from somebody somewhere, like they could do that. If I'm Chris McFarland, my number one piece of business right now is another wing. Largely because I just don't trust the combination of Victor Olofsson, Gavin Brindley, Yoel Kiviranta, Zakhar Bardakov, like all of those guys. I'm not trusting of them in a playoff run.
I don't know how you could be trusting of, again, especially their third line wing depth. Not that they aren't good players, not that they can't be good, but the streakiness they've gotten between Colton and Olofsson. If they both go cold in the playoffs, your depth is going to struggle.
Yeah.
So I do fully understand Avs potentially wanting another wing to actually play in their lineup. If they want to go out and get another 8th D2 or whatever, like you said, fine. I just don't think that that's that impactful.
Yeah. And I mean, Bobby McMahon would be amazing. Like Blake Coleman would be amazing. Those guys would be great. But are they trading the 2028 first now? Because
prices aren't about to get cheaper. Yeah,
exactly. And this is for the swap is, McCarron went for a second. That was like, okay. Nic Roy is a much better player than Michael McCarron. He goes for a first.
Yep.
Centers are more valuable than wings, so
yeah,
maybe you
exactly.
can make that argument.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you 2 seconds for Bobby McMahon and Victor Olofsson, and you're in the money. You love that, right? You're all about that.
Yes, I would do that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have no draft picks to get any better at next year's deadline. Okay, you're the defending
champ. As long as you
champs.
win
feel
now,
pretty good.
it's fine. Yeah,
you feel pretty good.
Yeah, and that's, we say this every year at the trade deadline. These trades will ultimately be remembered based on the results the Avs get out of this season. If you get a Stanley Cup, you do not care about the price. Full stop.
Obviously this has gone extremely well, but the Arturi Lehkonen trade price was Colorado's top prospect and a 2nd round pick for a 3rd line player at the time, and everybody kind of lost their minds. And that went pretty well.
It did. I think it's unfair to set that expectation, but yeah.
For the record, Arturi Lehkonen's also slow. He's also a slow skater who it does not hinder him in any way.
I mean, if Nic Roy could skate as well as Lecky, it would help. It would help me feel better.
It's one thing to be slow, and it's one thing to be like one of the 10 slowest skaters in the league, which is where Nic Roy is. So it is. It is a. The last thing that I will also touch on is that at the moment you're putting Nic Roy and Ross Colton on a line together.
Yeah.
2 guys who have significantly underachieved their careers in terms of goal scoring this season. Is that going to make both of them better?
You only hope.
Yeah.
You only hope.
Like, what's Jonathan Drouin up to? Could they go get a premier playmaker to feed a couple of guys that need to score? Like it's.
Oh gosh, that would imply being able to hit the net too. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, I will give Ross Colton credit. He shoots right at a goaltender a lot. So if the goalie wasn't there, he would be having a much better season. So at least he's not having I'm missing. I'm missing out. I'm missing the net entirely from
if only hockey were about hitting the logo.
Yeah. Who needs to play 3 posts when you can just play shoot it into the logo?
Yep.
I mean, is there?
Can I talk about the Kadri aspect of this? I know there's going to be a lot of people that are really bummed because we've been talking about Ryan O'Reilly and Vincent Trocheck and Nazem Kadri, like the ultimate greedy problems here. We want these guys to be Colorado's 3rd line centers, and the Avs went out and got a 3rd line center to be a 3rd line center instead. I get the disappointment because there is a giant gap between Nazem Kadri and,
of course,
Nicolas Roy. But one thing that is a really important aspect of this is that Calgary did not want to retain money.
Mhm.
Their ownership did not want to do it. Craig Conroy did not want to do it. So the other teams that we're all afraid that might trade for Nazem Kadri are in the same position as the Avalanche. How many of us were completely comfortable with Kadri as an Av at $7 million? Was it
Not at all, to be honest.
I would
No.
a very, very, very small number of people that were just like YOLO vibes, right? Like that aren't going to care about the cap.
Sure.
Dallas is in a very similar position.
Yep.
And they have less draft capital than the Avalanche. Well, after this deal, they're pretty much in the same boat. Minnesota's got a little bit more draft capital, but the same problem.
Mm-hmm.
If Calgary's ownership isn't wanting to retain money, that doesn't change team to team, does it?
No, I don't think it's realistic for any of these teams unless you're doing major roster surgery at that point, right?
Unless you are like, look, this trade is too good, we have to take it. They're giving us 3 first-round picks, like it's unreasonable. The deal, right?
Sure.
And even then, ownership is still a problem here. They do not want to retain money. They do not want to pay Nazem Kadri to play elsewhere. That's still a problem. That leaves everybody else in the position of, well, $7 million. And with the Rangers and Trocheck, they don't have to do this right now. They can wait.
It's true.
They don't have to take whatever offer is on the table. They can continue to wait. He will continue to be valuable. He's still a good player. Yep. He's a really good player. Yeah. So it is a situation where the Avs looked around. They really wanted to get involved in that, to go out and try and do what they can to build the super team down the middle. But what they've done is they've built a really good 1 through 4.
Well,
center depth.
And keep in mind, especially for a team like Dallas, they probably have bigger needs than Kadri. Like, from a personal level, I would not want to see Nazem Kadri in Dallas. But if Dallas went out and did that, their big solve for their defense is Tyler Myers. Like, you're really leaving a giant hole on the right side of your defense to go get Nazem Kadri.
Yeah. There was a comment that just popped up in chat real quick that just says Avs have elite centers at 1, 2, and 4, which is great. It's still a huge overpay, IMO, and I think that's a fair way to. Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it. But I also think that had we done this a year ago, had we had this conversation about Nicolas Waugh a year ago, he would have been one of the top 5 third line centers in the NHL. He has been a very good third line center. That does not change the question marks around his skating. It's just that he had a bad year. So you really are talking about, historically speaking, I'm buying stock in Waugh working out. The fit and the bad year make you a little bit nervous, 100%. But like, this is a player who has been very good.
Yep.
In this role, specifically in this role.
I don't know how much this matters, but I do think it's also worth noting, realistically, teams are projecting an Avalanche first-round pick to be 25th or higher in the first round.
Yeah.
So there probably is a little bit less value when you're talking about a Colorado Avalanche first-round pick than I mean, bottom-feeding teams aren't trading their firsts, but a bubble team's first-round pick, like a Utah's or something like that.
Yeah.
So
it's fair.
I was just looking this up because if you look at their careers, pretty similar-ish between Ross Colton and Nic Roy, at least as far as production is concerned. Colton a bit better goal scorer, but both of them have flirted with the 40-point mark a handful of times. And the Avs ultimately traded a second-round pick for Ross Colton that ended up being 37th overall. That's really going to be roughly a 10-pick difference or less to this Avs first-round pick that they just gave up to Nic Roy. Now, I was looking it up because I was curious about pick inflation more than actual comparison. But I do think it's not... Every year we do this at the trade deadline where oh God, the prices are crazy. Everyone's giving up everything. And then you look back at it, and you're like, actually, the market just kind of was at that point, and it wasn't as crazy as the price as you might have thought.
Yeah.
So that's all I had. Any other thoughts you guys have on Nic Roy and the Avs?
I have to go do this exact same thing on PDOcast now.
Have fun.
Yep, nothing for me.
All right. We will get out of here with this one. You'll find another emergency pod if the Avs do something else here at DNVR. And also, tune in tomorrow, where we will spend 6 hours doing nothing because the trade deadline's all going to be over today. We appreciate y'all. A $5 super sticker as well, that on this platform, I don't think we can actually see what it is, but we do appreciate you. That's it. This has been DNVR Avalanche emergency podcast, presented by Xfinity. Xfinity, imagine that.
We all silly like the mayor.